Salutations! So this video is going to be the brightest in the WorldSwap series because we're going to be doing Iridessa and Stella. Stella, of course, is a light fairy. She's very friendly and outgoing and loves to shine. Despite her love for attention, however, she isn't afraid of letting others have their own time in the spotlight. Stella is very supportive of her friends and is among the first to give encouragement when it's needed. She's all about self-love and is always down for a self-care day. Stella is also a bit of a creative, and not only does she design her own dresses, she makes them as well. Every other week or so, she'll gather her friends together and show off her newest looks. When she isn't designing or hanging out with her friends, you can find Stella on the beaches of Neverland, searching for lost things, hoping to find a new statement piece for her next outfit. For Stella's design, I kept her bright blonde pigtails and her signature beach girl tan. I also put her back in her iconic orange, but kept it interesting with different textures, or I tried to anyway. I also added some yellow fading to the top and to the skirt just to add some contrast. I used twines of grass as the hair brands and gave her green shoes to match. I also went for a more broad-shouldered body type for Stella, and I made her among the tallest of the group. Her bangs gave me some trouble, but I think I nailed them in the end. Like with everyone else, I gave her wings a gradient and tinged them with yellow. And there she is, Stella the Light Talent Fairy. Iridessa's dress design gave me so much trouble. I was struggling this time around. I don't know what happened. But anyway, I wanted something that fit the Enchantix vibe, but also fit her personality. So I kept a kind of flowy feel and with her skirt, and I also added strips of fabric radiating out from the center of her torso to really drive home the light theming. I also wanted to keep her heart neckline to help pull in the design elements from her Tinkerbell design. Plus it just felt like it fit Iridessa. And while I kept her iconic bun, I did add some long braids to the side of her face, threaded with orange beads to make her hair feel more Enchantixy. I did my best to thread the light rays motif throughout her design, especially in her wings. I love the wings I did for her. Her pixie dust vial is designed to look like a little sparkle. And speaking of her wings, I think they're my favorite that I've designed thus far. They feel a little bit like stained glass, and the light blue really adds some pop, which I also kind of pulled from Stella's Enchantix design. It works! So if it ain't broke, why fix it? Now let's delve into Iridessa's Enchantix lore. For some context, Iridessa is from Lucyon. It is a dazzling planet of light, a world of chandeliers, grand glass domes, and tall spiraling city lines. Lucyon is governed by a council of elected individuals. Each member is in possession of an ancient talisman, a piece of a mirror, set in a silvery amulet. This mirror is the scrying mirror of the great fairy Lumina. It was shattered long ago and divided amongst the first members of the council, for the power it held was dubbed far too great for one person to hold. When brought together, the pieces of the mirror allow the users to see the past, present, or future. A few months passed after the girls returned from Botanithia. Their lectures and classes were punctuated with stories and news of various other strange attacks happening all over the magic dimension. One day, a month after the incident at Botanithia, Headmistress Clarion summoned the girls to her office. They had received word that a respected member of Lucyon's council may be under threat, Iridessa's mother. The source was uncertain, but there had been strange sightings of 3 unwanted shadows lurking around her estate. However, not all the girls could go on this mission, as some had to stay in case something happened elsewhere. For this mission, the headmistress picked out Iridessa, Fawn, and Tinkerbell. The next morning, the trio left for Lucyon. When they arrived, they were greeted with the dazzling capital city of Loomis. Iridessa led her awestruck friends to the city, catching a trolley to the innermost sectors. Along the way, Tinkerbell and Fawn's enamored chatter faded to the background for Iridessa, her mind racing with worry. What if they were too late? She watched the city line, waiting, her stomach twisting as she imagined a column of smoke rising from her neighborhood. What if they arrived home and her mother was gone? Iridessa? She glanced back to her friends, meeting their concerned expressions with a nervous smile. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said. We were asking what you think the goal was, Fawn answered. Well, that didn't really clarify things. The goal for what? The thieves. Oh, well, they might be after my mother's amulet. Is it powerful? When paired with its other pieces it is. It can allow the users to peer through time, Iridessa explained, earning a whistle from Fawn. So they're going to try and steal it? Tinkerbell asked, leaning in. Well, that's easier said than done. The amulets are bound to their holder for life. So, Tinkerbell began, the only way to get the amulet from your mother is... Iridessa looked away as the other girl trailed off, her lips thinning. Fawn glanced between them before scooting forward. Well, why your mom? She asked. Iridessa sighed. She doesn't live in the beacon like the others. She's an easier target. Soon enough, they arrived at the gates of her home. Her mother stood outside, speaking to a small group of guards. She glanced up as the gates opened and waved enthusiastically at Iridessa, who rushed forward and practically jumped into her mother's arms. Tinkerbell and Fawn followed after her, though they hung back a few feet awkwardly. After introductions, the girls entered the house and settled in. Though Tinkerbell and Fawn fell asleep, Iridessa found herself wide awake, staring up at the ceiling as anxiety ate at her stomach. All throughout the night she tossed and turned, battling her mind, trying to push down her anxiety, and as dawn bled into the horizon, she found herself even more exhausted than the day before. As she entered the carriage with her mother, she practically sank into the chair. Her exhaustion had only grown throughout the morning. Across from her, her mother pulled a small basket out from under her seat, removing a few knitting needles and a roll of twine. Iridessa sighed and turned her attention back to the window, listening as her mother began to hum. Slowly, she fell asleep. The carriage rocked, and yelling outside sent Iridessa springing to her feet. She glanced at her mother, who sat across from her, hand against her chest as she peered out the window. Iridessa shoved the curtains aside and felt her heart drop. Green fire roared a few feet away. She grabbed her mother's arm, pulling her along as she burst from the carriage out into the street. A ring of fire surrounded them. Overhead, she spotted Tinkerbell and Fawn locked in battle with massive marble gargoyles. They looked eerily similar to the ones that decorated a few of the estate gardens. Mom, we have to... She trailed off as a soft humming reached her ears. She glanced back toward the carriage and watched as a cloaked figure stepped out from behind the frame. Purple light danced on their fingertips a moment as they whispered. Move! Iridessa lunged forward, blocking her mother's body with her own just as the spell was cast. A searing flash struck her leg and she found herself rooted to the spot, her leg numb. She looked down, watching in horror as her body began rapidly turning to stone. She looked to her mother, hoping she'd run for cover, but found herself staring into marble eyes. Mom? She whispered, reaching up to caress her mother's stone face. A single tear escaped her as her vision went dark. She swore she heard Fawn's voice yell her name. It was cold. Then she felt a light flicker to life in her chest, pulsing in a rhythm that her heart soon followed. Light filled her vision, and when it died away, she found herself floating. Something hit the earth behind her, and Iridessa glanced back to find the broken body of a gargoyle littering the cobblestones. A second one soon followed, and a tackle from behind nearly sent her spiraling to the ground. Iridessa! Fawn cheered, squeezing her friend harder. By the time she shook her friend off, the cloaked figure had disappeared. To her relief, they'd left her mother, though the relief was shallow as she descended, laying a hand on her mother's cold stone face. Is there anything we can do? Tink asked, landing beside Iridessa and Fawn. The question hung in the air for a moment as Iridessa considered it. Iridessa quickly pulled the delicate vial from her necklace, unstopping the top and sprinkling it over her mother's petrified form. The stone melted away under the showering of dust, and Iridessa caught her mother as she collapsed. A hug ensued. Then the girls put out the fires and finished their escort mission, leading Iridessa's mother into the safety of the barrier. And that is the story of Iridessa, Fairy of Radiance and Guardian of Lucerne. Hello, and thank you for watching until the end. I'm sorry if my reading got a little dramatic. I was feeling the drama, you know? And Iridessa's story took me way too long to write. I don't know why, but it did. Anyway, I am really gonna have to start paraphrasing more because I can't keep writing these mini short stories. I can't. It's taking too much time. Anywho, what was your favorite part of the video? Did you like Stella's design? What about Iridessa's? I'm interested for your thoughts. I'm interested in hearing them. So please comment below what you think and add a little song or a little sparkle to your comment. And I don't know, that's it. I'm terrible at ending these things. Bye-bye.